That was a time of madness. You might not believe in God, in destiny, but you believed in that bridge. That was our symbol, that was a piece of us, that was in our hearts.
The Bridge of Mostar, or Stari Most in the former Yugoslavia, an ancient architectural wonder, and its destruction, a modern-day symbol of ethnic hatred. The war is now over, and it seems the whole world wants to rebuild the bridge. But with no original plans, the construction team must first do some detective work to uncover the secrets of the ancient builders. Mostar in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Few other places so clearly delineate where east meets west. When the Yugoslavian conflict reached Mostar in 1992, the city was under fire. Bosnian Muslims fought in the east, and Croatian Christians in the west of the city. When the bridge was blown up, the world watched in horror as a symbol of peace and unity seemed to be lost forever. Some see rebuilding it as an essential step in healing the wounds of war. It's a tall order. No plans for the original bridge are believed to exist. Top experts from around the globe must unravel the mystery of how such a magnificent structure could have been built more than 400 years ago. Will they be able to construct a medieval bridge using original methods while also meeting today's safety standards? In 1992, as Yugoslavia fell apart, the Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina was born. Mostar lies 2 hours south of the capital, Sarajevo. Before the war, the Bridge of Mostar was a tourist spot, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa or the Acropolis in Athens. People came from all over the world to see the bridge, a symbol of peaceful coexistence between Muslims and Christians.
Since we were kids, we made our first steps on the bridge. After we were dating on the bridge. Later on, we were spending every evening, every night, because people here are socializing a lot.
Before the war, Mostar was known for its religious tolerance. Christians and Muslims could easily meet and intermarry, giving the city an exceptionally high rate of multi-ethnic marriages. Maja Popovac is the child of one such marriage. Her father is Muslim, her mother a Catholic. Maja spends a lot of time on the Neretva River, the Muslim world to her left, the Christian world to her right, and the fabulous Mostar Bridge up ahead.
This river is extremely wild and extremely dangerous. It's beautiful. Gorgeous, but unpredictable. The old bridge, by its span and by thickness, was really a masterpiece. It's a world wonder.
Maja knows what she's talking about. She's an architect and will be part of the reconstruction team. It's an incredible opportunity for her to get into the head of an ancient master builder.
The more I learn about this bridge, the more I see every day, the more documentation that I find. I admire the previous architects and builders of the bridge.
The Mostar Bridge was completed in 1566 by the Turkish architect Mimar Hayreddin. He was commissioned by the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. He needed a bridge strong enough to support troops, horses, and the transport of goods. Hayreddin has taken his building secrets to the grave. Incredibly, none of his plans have ever been found. The only records that archaeologists have to work with to piece this mystery together are simple accounting books that document man-hours and materials. But there is little doubt about the magnitude of the task. Hayreddin set out to construct what was at the time one of the most beautiful and complex stone bridges in the world. He developed revolutionary techniques which were extremely risky, not only for the workers, but for the architect himself. According to legend, the Sultan had threatened to have Hayreddin executed if the bridge collapsed.
Šta radiš?
The stakes are high for today's builders as well. Maya and the reconstruction team must first solve the riddles of the past before they can plan the bridge of the future. Success is far from certain.
It's really hard, even nowadays, with this kind of technology and equipment and everything you have, to build something like this.
Experts from many countries are working hard to make this superstructure a success. The people of Mostar are counting on their bridge to reunite their city. For Maya, the adventure is just beginning. Something is missing in Europe. Urban planner Amir Pazic knows the bridge better than anyone else. He was born in Mostar and restored the bridge before the war. For him, the sight of the bridge in ruins is very painful.
This bridge is like one of us who died in that war.
Amir Pazic will head the planning office. Maya will be one of the architects on his team. Both were exiled by the war. Now they want to rebuild what the war has destroyed. In the 1990s, the war in Yugoslavia left hundreds of thousands of people dead, wounded, or displaced. The scars are still visible in Mostar.
That was a time of madness and a time when people were thinking just who is their enemy by how is he called or what symbols is he wearing.
In Mostar, the front line runs right through the heart of the city. Religious buildings become military targets. The Catholics' cathedral and the Muslims' mosques. And the 170-year-old Orthodox church is reduced to rubble. The city's parks, once full of Sunday strollers, become cemeteries. Maya is one of the lucky ones. She manages to flee to relatives in Prague, but her parents are left behind. When word gets out that Muslim men are being rounded up and sent to concentration camps, her father goes into hiding.
My mother, she was still working, but she was, as she heard that they're taking away, that was the term for it. I don't know the correct translation. She said every time I was running home, if they take him away, so I can be with him. I do not want us to separate.
When Maya's parents got married, no one seemed to care about the differences between Muslims and Christians. A child of a mixed marriage like Maya was nothing unusual. But that would change by the late 80s. The trauma of that time is still felt by Maya's parents.
kad je bilo protjerivanje i to, tu bi je malo bilo teže. Ja sam bila na poslu, a
It was very difficult, and I was really afraid that they would find and arrest my husband. But fortunately, we were lucky.
Kući i tako. Međutim, eto, srećom, to je dobro bilo. Tako mogu se.
Many of their friends died or fled to other countries. Maya left for her own safety, but despite the dangers, her parents decided to stay. Their family had lived here for generations. Mostar was their home. In November 1993, the bridge becomes the main target. After hours of heavy shelling, it collapses. The stones sink to the bottom of the river. The wooden beams float downstream.
You might not believe in whatever, in God, in destiny, and whatever, but you believed in that bridge because it was there and it was something that you inherited. That was our symbol. That was a piece of us. That was in our hearts.
It was a dark day for the people of Mostar.
Somebody called me on the phone that it was destroyed, maybe my mom or somebody. I don't know, you know, that's one of those days that you are trying to forget. That your mind is not going to be able to reconstruct. One of those foggy days.
Maya could never have imagined that 10 years later she will be part of the team to rebuild the bridge. The first step is to check the condition of the original stones, which lie on the bottom of the Neretva River. The divers find many stone blocks on the riverbed. The bridge's foundations are still in good condition, but the same cannot be said of the stones. What was not destroyed by grenades has been heavily damaged by the strong current of the river. At first glance, it seems unlikely that many of them will be solid enough for the new bridge. Hungarian engineers from S4, the International Stabilization Force in Bosnia, recover the stone blocks out of the water, a task made all the more difficult by the weight of the stone. The people of Mostar gather to watch. It's important for them that the old stones be retrieved. Many have a strong emotional attachment to them. Hopes are high that they can be used again. But only 1/10 of the original blocks could be recovered. Ultrasound analysis is used now to determine if they are strong enough to be part of the new 300-ton arch. There are no classes or textbooks on Hairudin's ancient building techniques. This is a unique voyage of discovery to unlock the secrets of the past. Using state-of-the-art technology, such as laser scanning and photogrammetry, archaeologists try to understand how their ancient colleagues were able to build the original bridge. They gather exact data on site to survey the surface of the ruins. Then they study thousands of photographs of the original bridge. Together, this information allows them to calculate the exact size and shape of each stone. An Italian team at the University of Florence must learn how each hand-carved stone fits into the puzzle. They use this data to create the three-dimensional image of the new bridge. Italy's unique achievements in bridge building date back to ancient Rome. After the Roman Empire collapsed, a lot of architectural know-how spread east to Constantinople, today's Istanbul. For Manfredo Romeo, the reconstruction of the Mostar Bridge offers a unique chance to study the influence of Roman construction techniques on the bridges of the Ottoman Empire. The 3D data in his computer will enable the construction team to reassemble the bridge down to the tiniest detail.
More than 1,000 pieces of stone is on the old bridge, and every single one is with different dimensions. So the shapes are different, the angles are different, everything. I also took small part in that procedure in Florence for a month or so. That was really beautiful but hard. Thousands of pictures, it was really interesting.
Next, the recovered stones need to be tested. A team of civil engineers with a unique knowledge of ancient stone structures arrives from Germany. They've unlocked construction secrets of Egyptian temples and medieval structures. Now they hope to do the same on the Mostar Bridge. They study the stones that were recovered from the river. A look at the cross-section reveals how the ancient builders connected the blocks with heavy lead metalwork. Sadly, it also reveals the extensive damage from the bombing, the water, and old age. Only the strongest, high-quality stones can be used if the new bridge is to last another 400 years. To everyone's disappointment, none of the old stones is strong enough for the new bridge. Once the engineers determine that the original stone cannot be used, they decide on the next best thing: stone from the original source. The Ottoman architect, Hayruddin, got his material from a small quarry near Mostar. The limestone here is quite hard, perfect construction material. Sites so rich in history are especially susceptible to myths and legends, and this quarry is no exception. The traces of the old stonecutters' work are still to be seen. According to Yuri Katalic, his family has owned this quarry for generations.
They hammered out the stone by hand with sharp chisels. One cut down like this, then another one, and eventually the blocks were taken out with a wedge. Over there, you see the remains of this work. The surface has weathered in 400 years, but you still see how precise this work was.
The rubble of 4 centuries, traces of the ancient masters.
We think that they first assembled and tested the old bridge here. They erected the arch in the quarry. Only then did they bring the stones to the construction site.
Today's builders won't assemble a test bridge at the quarry, but they do need to test the rock for strength and durability in their lab. They subject a sample block to very high pressure to learn how much weight it can withstand before it bursts. This fast motion test actually takes half an hour. The stone sample from the quarry passes with flying colors. It can hold 5 times the weight the bridge has to bear. Now the stone cutting begins at the quarry. More than 1,000 blocks will be given their rough shape by a powerful rock cutter. Each of them is carefully numbered, catalogued, and transported to the river. There, the roughly hewn, oversized blocks will get a fine cut at the hands of skilled masons. Machines are good for brute force, but only specialized stonecutters with a knowledge of ancient techniques can give the bridge the beautiful texture that will distinguish it. Ömer Kermizi, a stonemason from Turkey, will spend the next 2 years in Bosnia.
I learned this profession 30 years ago from my father. I've renovated more than 25 bridges in Turkey, as well as many historic monuments and mosques.
The stonemasons are not the only Turkish craftsmen who work on the project. Erbu, a Turkish construction company, offered the lowest bid and will carry out the actual building. The Turks have a reputation for being excellent craftsmen, and generations of stonecutters have preceded these men. But Mostar in Bosnia-Herzegovina is an ethnic tinderbox that is easily ignited. The arrival of the Muslim Turks is loaded with historical significance that still upsets some of Mostar's Christians even today. Almost 500 years ago, the mighty Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, based in present-day Turkey, expanded his borders to Central Europe. The Christian city of Mostar came under Ottoman and Islamic rule. Ottoman soldiers made it as far as the gates of Vienna, Austria, where their advance was stopped. Traces of their conquests are still visible in this part of Europe almost 500 years later. The beautiful city of Mostar has an invisible border. The Christian church bells are answered by the call of the Muslim muezzin. Some see it as a small declaration of war each day. While Sunday is the Christian holy day of the week, for the Muslims, it's Friday. At 1 p.m, Ömer, the stonemason from Turkey, and his colleagues head to the mosque for afternoon prayers. Now the society in Mostar is so religiously and ethnically divided, the Christian monk Tomislav Pervan likens it to the conflict in Northern Ireland.
It's much like Belfast. Only it's not Protestants and Catholics, but Muslims and Catholics. It's so hard to build up trust.
To the Franciscan monks in Mostar, the famous bridge is a symbol of their martyrdom. Many Franciscans still believe that under Turkish rule more than 400 years ago, monks were persecuted for their beliefs, drowned in the river, blinded or burned. It's not only an emotional issue for the Christians, but for Muslims as well. The Muslims of Bosnia-Herzegovina have a reputation for being liberal, but when the conversation turns to Mostar's Christian Croat population, the Mufti sounds like a political hardliner. Mufti Said Smajkic is the spiritual leader of the Muslims in Mostar.
The Muslims in Herzegovina and in Mostar are in danger today. This is because the Croats carry on with their politics of secession.
The Catholic Croats have erected a huge steel cross above the town, exactly at the site where Croats used to shell the city during the war. Mufti Smajkic struggles with the presence of the cross.
It's a provocation. It just doesn't fit.
The people working on the bridge know that they have to overcome old hatreds, but it's not easy. When the Turkish workers celebrated the start of the construction, they slaughtered a sheep for good luck. This ancient tradition disturbs some Croats, who find it a hostile reminder of Islam's proximity. Maya has to deal with problems of this kind every day. Most of them start out with a simple misunderstanding.
I didn't even notice what they've done. It was just, it was just something that in that piece of the world people do for a good start of the job.
Despite these tensions, work on the bridge has to move forward. Winter is fast approaching, and with it, the possibility of heavy flooding. Legend has it that centuries ago, strong winter currents crashed through the Ottomans' ancient scaffolding, killing many workers. Maya and the team must pull together and make sure a strong scaffolding is up before the river becomes too wild. Mostar is not an easy place to build a bridge. Earthquakes can strike any time, but the most frequent danger is flooding. Every winter, mountain rivers can deliver many times the normal volume of water to the Neretva River. The level of the river rises, and powerful currents and floods can cause much damage. There's no time to lose, and no room for error in the construction of the scaffolding, also known as a centering.
It was never so easy to predict how strong Neretva will be and what kind of centering will really just make it through the entire project. So that's why it was decided at the middle of the project, not at the very beginning, that the centering is not going to be a light construction.
Today's builders want to understand how the Ottoman architect Hayreddin built his centering. They learn that he used wood because it could be bent into place. But his first centering couldn't withstand Neretva's current in the winter, and according to legend, many workers were killed. Today's builders wanted to use steel, but while it's strong, it isn't flexible enough to form the arch. So a combination of steel and wood must be used. This will be no ordinary structure. Two massive steel constructions, as stable as a railway bridge, give temporary support for the bridge. The steel supports are anchored in the bedrock at both riverbanks. They will need to hold 300 tons of stone and resist cold winters and floods.
It was decided that we're going to lift the centering up above the level of more than 100 years water, some 120, 150 years water. And that was proven to be right, because a couple of times after the assembling of the centering and building the bridge, Neretva went really up.
The first winter is a crucial test. The scaffolding has been solidly designed, and the construction site survives undamaged. If the workers would have used Hayreddin's original methods based on wood, the scaffolding might have collapsed. The scaffolding is up and the stones are cut. Next, the builders need very strong mortar to hold it all together. The first thing they want to know is what secret ingredients Hayrudin put in his mortar that made it last so long. Many samples of possible local building materials are collected for analysis. For example, this sand which is taken from the riverbed. Its structure and composition will be compared with the sand in the original mortar. The exact recipe is another secret that Hayrudin has taken to his grave. Legends and oral history mix with science. Ömer, the stonemason from Turkey, has his own theory that has been passed down to him from generations.
At that time, the Ottomans worked with a special mortar called Horasan. They took lime, egg white, goat hair and bone powder, and they mixed it together to get this substance. They had no cement back then.
To most people, this is just dirt and dust. To these stone detectives, it's a textbook on ancient building materials. A lab analysis of the mortar reveals the presence of proteins, which proves that organic materials were part of the original mix. They mix and test various combinations of sand, lime, and other ingredients. At last, after 2 years of experimentation, the mortar is ready for an on-site trial. It's also time to lay the first stone. There is much excitement and tension. A lot is at stake. And the whole world is watching. But Maya and the team are set up for a new disappointment. The mortar doesn't hold. Accusations fly. The lab team blames the local workers for failing to respect their recipe. The workers say the lab has made a costly miscalculation. New mixtures are formulated on site, and finally, the right one is found. But they can't build the bridge with just stone and mortar. They'll need metal as well to stabilize it.
The metal parts of the bridge were very important in the whole structure. The bridge was reinforced, not reinforced as people may think that now we put some modern steel construction or something, but it was reinforced in old way and the only possible way.
Again, the engineers want to know how the Ottomans did it. But without the ancient plans, they must study the remains of the old stone and metal. They sacrifice an ancient rod to discover the forging secrets. They learned that thick iron connecting pins called dowels were inserted in the center of each stone to give them their central support. Then cramps held the stones together. The engineers determined that this method will work just as well today.
The cramps and the dowels were made from the same material that Hayrudin made. centuries ago, and also they were naturally hammered, and it was really a masterpiece. Every single piece was done with maximum care.
"810 dowels are made exactly according to Hayrudin's specifications. It's a costly and time-consuming process, requiring the know-how of many highly skilled ironsmiths. They then put the dowel in a hole in the stone and seal it. 5 strong men are needed to move a single stone block. Noon in Mostar. The temperature on the bridge has surged to 50 degrees Celsius. The builders are now ready to put the blocks in place. They fit the male block with the dowel into the female block with the hole. Meyer and the team try to complete a row of up to 5 stones each day. But iron rusts. It will need to be sealed to protect it against the elements. But what material should be used? And how will it reach the dowel after the stone is in place? The builders of more than 400 years ago had the same problem. When the engineers study the ancient metalwork, they learn the Ottomans' clever secret. Here's how it works. First, they hammer small channels into the surface of each stone. Once they bring the stones together, the channels form a pipeline that leads to the dowel. Next, they pour molten lead in to seal the dowels and protect them from the elements. Thanks to these lead fillings, Hayrudin's arch was able to survive 4 centuries of weather, wear and tear. The researchers built a small-scale model of the arch to test this construction method. They want to find out if it could also work today. The researchers conclude using lead to seal each dowel is ingenious, but it's also costly, difficult, and very dangerous.
The problem with lead was that the channels were pretty long because the dowels should be in the middle of every stone. So that's why lead had to be melt on precise temperature.
Will the calculation of the lab hold up in practice? Lead only melts at a high temperature. Here they go up to 350 degrees Celsius and higher. They will need about 30 tons of lead to seal the bridge's more than 800 dowels. Handling lead at such high temperatures is hard on the workers, but they take little care to protect themselves from the poisonous fumes, which can cause long-term lung damage. The lead can be dangerous for the stones too. Just before laying the stones, they wash them to ensure a clean contact between them. This step causes a new problem for the leadmaster.
In case that lead comes in contact with water, it could explode. So not just that it could harm the workers, but also the stone could be so heavily damaged, and it's not possible to take out any of those stones when it's assembled.
No one has built like this for a long time, and no one knows if the Ottomans waited for the stone to dry naturally. But today's team doesn't have that luxury. Time is money, and the stone must dry quickly for the work to progress. Vladimir Saparovic, a Croatian metalworker with many years of experience and a passion for his craft, finds a solution on the spot. He designs a tool that goes deep into the stone's crevice and dries it quickly and thoroughly. Up to 2 liters of liquid lead are poured into the inner channel. What seems like a simple procedure is actually one of the riskiest. It requires great skill and speed. The lead master has less than 1 minute to fully fill the chamber before it hardens. And once it cools, there is no turning back. If the lead hardens too soon, it will clog the channel, preventing the rest of the lead from reaching the dowel. A real blunder at this stage of construction could seriously affect the stability of the bridge. But it's never as easy as it looks in a computer animation. Working with molten lead is only one of the many dangers involved in this ambitious construction process, where ancient techniques don't always meet modern-day safety requirements. This man is working with a massive stone on weak wooden planks which cannot sustain the weight. Minutes later, the planks collapse and a large stone falls on him. The worker is rushed to the hospital with fears that his backbone has been broken. His colleagues are shocked, and his team leader is even a bit angry. The accident only adds to the tensions on the site.
I can't tell them. I said maybe 1,000 times. Something's happened, without my decision. Somebody decides and everything is going.
This time the man is lucky. He spends the week in the hospital, but his injuries heal. The project must continue, less one worker. Rebuilding the bridge is of great political significance, and many high-ranking visitors come to Mostar to see the progress. This time it's the US ambassador to Bosnia and Herzegovina. He vividly remembers watching the bridge collapse on television.
And they told me before the end of the year. Okay. I thought it was terrible. I was shocked. I knew everything that was going on in Yugoslavia. I'd lived in Yugoslavia for 3 years. And I saw the pictures of the bridge being destroyed. And for me, it was a very, very strong event. I remember, I remember seeing it in my home and thinking that's a terrible act against civilization.
November the 9th, 1993. The collapse of much more than a bridge. It left the world shocked. Many questions remain unanswered. Who ordered the 24-hour shelling? And who carried it out? Many war crimes have been investigated, but nobody was ever held responsible for the destruction of the cultural heritage. The commander of the HVO, the Croatian forces in Bosnia, was General Slobodan Praljak.
Did you give the order to destroy the old bridge?
No.
Why is everybody saying it was you?
Because they don't know. Because they're lying. Because they're babbling. Because they do not ask. They don't want to know the truth. there's no evidence at all.
Today, Praliak no longer lives in Mostar, but he still comes back regularly because he owns shares in a local tobacco factory. Even if he denies ordering the bridge's destruction, the Muslims blame him. On the Croatian side, he's a hero. The court in Mostar has investigated the destruction of the bridge. But no matter how many people point the finger at Praliak, it never goes to trial. In reconstructing the bridge, it seems that at least some justice is served to the people of Mostar. While the bridge goes up, the preparation of the new pavement is already underway. The condition of these stones does not matter as much as it does for the structural ones. Many of the original pavement stones that were retrieved from the water can be reused. This will offer some consolation to the people of Mostar, who have a strong emotional attachment to the original stone. It will also help make the new bridge look just like the old one, with its distinctive stone ribs that kept horses from slipping when crossing the bridge in bad weather. The task of determining exactly which stone goes where falls on Croatian archaeologist Zeljko Pekovic. He must put the jigsaw puzzle together, identifying and numbering each stone. The pavement of the old town has already been restored, but that work ends at the bridge. Soon the whole medieval district will look just like it did before the war. As the bridge approaches completion, tourists start to return. Their money is much needed and helps Mostar get back on its feet. But for Maya, a dramatic twist will end her job just weeks shy of the completion. Although the bridge isn't completed yet, the people of Mostar can't wait to bring back an old tradition. Young men jump from a height of 20 meters into the cold Neretva River. Maya's goal of seeing the bridge rebuilt is finally within her grasp. But it's come at a high cost. Too high for her. Maya's hair color is not the only thing that's changed. After so many years on the project, the endless tensions and misunderstandings are more than she can stand. Just weeks before the last stone is laid, Maya quits the project because she felt bullied. Her boss's traditional approach to women conflicts with her own more modern way of working. A clash of cultures.
It's a different mentality because you met people from Turkey, people from different parts of I don't know, Croatia, Bosnia, and so it's a little bit hard to have this mixture. Not to be, you know, more, it's sweet and sour, but sometimes it's more sour than sweet, so, you know, it's over.
One of the last steps is laying the keystone that closes the arch. They achieve this incredible feat with the help of hydraulic pumps that actually push the nearly completed arch open by several inches, allowing them to drop the final stone into place. Once they place the keystone and release the pumps, the bridge will snap back into place. The ceremony is not only a milestone event for the construction team, but also for the people of Mostar. This could become a bridge of reconciliation for them. Christians and Muslims now have the possibility to focus on the future instead of the past. The project leaders from both ethnic groups set a good example and showed that peace between Croats and Bosniaks is possible. Although Maya is no longer working on the project, she's on hand to celebrate.
This town will get its soul again by reconstruction of this bridge. It's going to be one city in maybe a lot of years, but it's going to be.
It will take at least another 50 years before the bridge settles permanently into the final position that it will hopefully retain for centuries to come. Stones and mortar will shrink and expand with weather and time. The engineers can monitor these movements via the internet, thanks to a constant stream of data. It's collected by a network of cables that have been installed inside each stone. The destruction of the Mostar Bridge will always be considered as a symbol of ethnic hatred. Its reconstruction is intended to bring new hope and a prosperous future of unity and peace.